Hey, what up everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. In the next few videos that I'm going to be putting up in a sequence of tonight, I'm going to be talking about things that I've watched on the WWE Network that are highlighted things that I think that you really should go check out, or I have a story behind them, or, just try to pump up the WWE Network. Not everybody out there that watches my videos has it. I would hope that you have it if it's available to you. If not, as I always say, there is ways that you can find the WWE Network if you need it. Legally or illegally. I do believe that if you go on YouTube and you look up ways to get the WWE Network where you live, you can get it legally, and you can pay for it and still get it. Don't be scared off by people saying that you have to live in the United States and things like that. Lots of people in UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada. I haven't heard anybody from Mexico, but I don't really know anybody in Mexico who watches my videos can get it. So in the first video, this is something that I watched last week. It's Wrestlepalooza 1998. This is the first ECW pay-per-view that I've watched in whole. I have sat down and tried to watch the first ECW pay-per-view a few times, trying to start from the beginning, trying to watch from the beginning to end. Somewhere along the way, getting lost or getting called off to do something else. But Barely Legal, I believe 1997, will get watched sooner than later. But Wrestlepalooza 1998 is special to me because it is honestly, when it comes down to it, one of the biggest regrets I have in wrestling as a fan. I was living in Georgia at the time, and this pay-per-view took place in the Cobb County Civic Center in Marietta, Georgia. And, ECW in 1998 was, the hottest shit in the world. ECW was, something that I barely knew what it was when I went to my first show in 1999. I caught a show here or there. ECW was not something that was very easy to find. I used to read about it on the internet, but basically when I would stumble across watching ECW in their hardcore TV show, it would be on at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It was either on Friday night or a Saturday night. It was never something that registered in my mind, this is when I need to watch this. It was just changing the channels, and then boom, there it is. And I'm like, oh, fuck! This is what everybody's talking about. This is the shit that I need to be watching. And it was always awesome. They held a pay-per-view in Cobb County, in Marietta, Georgia, which was probably a 30-minute drive from where I lived. And this would have been an awesome way for me to go to my first show. It was an awesome pay-per-view. There were some matches on there that really didn't suck, but just to be part of an ECW crowd. I've been to a lot of crowds that I consider great, but it was shocking for me to go to my first ECW show. I believe it was later in 1998. It might have had to been 1999. They didn't go to Georgia all the time, but I went to a show. It was a house show, and it was just wowing to me to see, Taz fought Devon Dudley, Bubba Ray fought Spike Dudley, Tommy Dreamer fought a match against Steve Corino. There's things that I will never forget about that show. The crowd was awesome from beginning to end. ECW was just something very special, and I consider myself very lucky to be able to go see those shows. It would have been even more awesome to be part of a New York or Philadelphia crowd, but even in Georgia, that place was hot. Checking out Wrestlepalooza 1998, like I said, there's some things on here that really, weren't that stuff that, really not really something to, bang the drum to say really go out of your way to really see this, as in like the first few matches. It was the BWO, the Blue Meanie and Supernova going up against the FBI. These guys had, big time battles, going over the whole history of ECW, and Little Guido, of course, would go on to big time fame, I guess you can say, in the WWE, having a good little run. Of course, Supernova would go over there being Simon Dean and, try to sell everybody on some weight loss stuff. And that was gold for a while on Monday Night Raw. But this match, to me, honestly, just didn't do anything. As well as the next match, Just Incredible going up against Mikey Whipwreck. There was just too many run-ins that just didn't really mean to care anything about anything during this. So the first two matches to me, honestly, were sort of duds. That puts you like 20 to 30 minutes into the show after the intro. If you're watching the WWE Network, you can hit the fast forward button and skip those matches if there's nothing really that catches it with you. But to me, honestly, the business really picks up from here on out. Chris Candido and Lance Storm, of course, A really great tag team, of course, part of the Triple Threat at the time. They were the tag team champions, I believe the longest running tag team champions in ECW history. Well, of course, ECW didn't run that long, and they were titles. They were the champs for a long time until I can't. No, it wouldn't have been Raven who beat him, because I think Lance Storm was already in. For some reason, I always think of Lance Storm being in WCW, but he always brings up the fact that when I listen to him on podcasts, he was only there for like 9 months before the place, shut down. He just seems like he was, a big time WCW guy for a long time with the run that he had. But they were the tag champs, and they fought against Balls Mahoney and Alex Rotten. What was funny about it was Candido and Storm were up in the balcony. They were delivering a promo in the promo center that was set up. It was funny because if you're watching at home on the pay-per-view, or if you're watching on the DVD or the whatever, it's like you're just looking at like they would be in the back, like where the dressing room was. But once the camera pulls back and reveals, they're actually like almost in the crowd and giving this promo. It was a funny place to put it, but basically, Balls Mahoney and Alex Rotten called these guys out, said they wanted to fight. Candido and Storm were up there giving a promo, and they looked down and they said, all right, you want to fight? Let's do it. We'll put the titles on the line and let's go do this. And you actually get to watch them come, through the crowd and come all the way down to the ring to start this match. Candido and Storm, as I said, were a part of the Triple Threat. The Triple Threat was a group of them, the tag champs, and the world champion at the time of ECW, Shane Douglas. But, because of the girls that were involved, Tammy Snitch and Dawn Marie, the team just honestly didn't get along. The girls drove the whole team apart. Of course, Shane Douglas had Francine as the head cheerleader at the time, so all of them had girls. The girls didn't get along. The guys just wanted to be a team, but the girls just wanted to drive everything apart. These guys hated each other, and it was an awesome, awesome thing to see go down. Basically, you see, Storm and Candido fight off Balls Mahoney and Alex Rotten throughout the whole match, but at the whole time, they're fighting amongst each other, and they want to beat the crap out of each other. And every time they're about to do it, you see Balls or Alex get up, and, they have to fend off the other guys because they want to stay being the tag champions. I thought this was an awesome, sort of way of psychology and an awesome story that went along during the match, and it went over well. Of course, Storm, I believe he super kicked one of them, and Candido, he has to go over there and kick his own tag team partner because he wants the glory. Kicks Storm off, covers him up for the self, and gets the 1, 2, 3. An awesome, awesome match. Pretty fun stuff to see. From there we go to what I thought would be an awesome match. New Jack going up against Bam Bigelow. I watched this on the WWE Network. There was a story that came out that said that the WWE Network pulled all of the New Jack matches. This is like the first show that I've told you that I've seen with New Jack on it, but New Jack is on here. They don't play Natural Born Killers. They have a way of they went and they dubbed in some funky beat that sort of goes along with it. There's nobody rapping in it, if I remember. It's just the beats. But it's not Natural Born Killers. It's not the Natural Born Killers beat. It covers it up maybe 95% of the way. Like, there's some points during the match where maybe it gets quiet or something like that, and you can hear Dr. Dre and Ice Cube coming through in the back because you're listening for it. But that's just me. But if there was anybody out there that I think would be a great opponent for New Jack, it would be Bam Bigelow. But this match honestly did not matter. We saw New Jack do a horrible spot coming off the balcony spot, the thing that he's pretty much most famous for. He climbed up into the balcony. For rhyme or reason, there was a guitar up in the balcony. He grabbed that, and when he jumped off on a Bam Bigelow, he was swinging the guitar. Horribly missed, but for some reason, maybe the air of the guitar swinging pushed over Bam Bigelow, and he took a huge bump. He gets up after about a minute. They fight back, and he picks up New Jack, carries him into the ring, pretty much just lays him down and pins him. 1, 2, 3, Bam gets the win over New Jack. For there we go into a match. Tommy Dreamer and the Sandman. Always great to see these guys team up, going up against the Dudley Boys. Of course, this would be a match that would be a rematch on the ECW One Night Stand WWE pay-per-view of 2005. So anytime you see these guys really get together, it's really, really fun. Dreamer and Sandman get the win. Anytime that they're together, they honestly should be. They were a big part of ECW. The Dudleys also were, but you know, with their cheating ways at the time with Big Dick Dudley on the outside, they just didn't deserve to lose. And the next match is the match of the night. This is I don't think this is on. It might be on RVD's One of a Kind, but this was honestly the first match I've seen this in its entirety. I did not expect the outcome that I did get, but it's Rob Van Dam going up against Sabu. These guys did everything in their you know, their arsenal. Of course, everybody knows about the fight for respect. That, you know, these guys were tag team partners, but at the same time, you know, each guy had doubts in the other guys, and this was a you know, a storyline that ran with these guys for a real long time. Every time they got together, this was great matches. You know, Fonzie was out there as the double manager. He was managing Rob Van Dam. He was managing Sabu. He was giving one guy advice, but at the same time, he was giving the other guy advice, and they pulled it off, you know, gratefully. But this came down to a time limit draw. Of course, you know, if you go down and you play out what was supposed to happen at this pay-per-view and what was, you know, advertised, and it was great because you don't see things like this in WWE or TNA when you do it. You know, normally when a card is announced, basically you know that those guys are on Coast, no matter who they're fighting on Raw or SmackDown or, you know, whatever you're watching, Impact Wrestling. If Biggie Langston has a match for Extreme Rules, and it's, you know, it's Wade Barrett, I guess you could say, because we're in the time period of that right now. If Biggie Langston shows up and he has a match against Heath Slater, Biggie Langston is going to beat Heath Slater because they have a title match already announced at the pay-per-view. They already had Wrestlepalooza's card named. Sabu was the number one contender going up against Bam Bigelow, the TV champion. And Rob Van Dam, you know, goes into a show. It's supposed to be set up as it's a wear-down match where RVD's going to go up against Bam Bam, wear him down, and then Sabu's going to have an easier guy to face at the pay-per-view. Rob Van Dam beat him. And then he held the TV champion for years after that. I think it was close to 2 years. Never lost it. But you see Sabu, who is the number one contender, has to fight Rob Van Dam. They go to the time limit draw. They go the whole way. And at the end, you see Sabu holding the TV title. And it's great because he's holding the TV title in his right hand. At the same time, he's holding his tag team partner's hand up with his left hand to say, hey, we both won. We both had a good match. But Rob Van Dam, with his left hand, is trying to grab the belt in Sabu's right hand. And Sabu keeps holding it away because he wants to be the television champion. He doesn't want Rob Van Dam to be there. Even though they're partners, even though they have the same manager, there's still that split between them. Sabu is pretty much, I guess you could say, he's jealous of Rob Van Dam. It was really, really good. 30-minute draw. Like I said, it might be on the One of a Kind, but just get the network and fucking watch the show on there. And then from there we go to the main event, which was Shane Douglas going up against Al Snow. Al Snow is appearing in ECW at this time, basically on the paycheck of Vince McMahon. They were using, ECW as a place to send guys as developmental. To get characters over and things like that, just sort of helping out ECW. Of course, everybody knows by the time, you know, the doors closed when we saw the ECW documentary that WWE put out, you know, Vince was, you know, financially funding ECW at the time because he felt like he could. He had the money, and he was raping Paulie of his talent. So he sent Al Snow there to get built up so people could see him. He could get used to the character. And, of course, this is the same character that he carried on the rest of his career with the head and Help Me and everything like that. He fought Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas was coming out. He was hurt. He had a huge arm brace on. He came out doing a promo talking about, you know, how he was beat up, but he was still coming out there because guys like Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair wouldn't do it. He was coming out there for the love of the business, and he was going to give everybody the match that they deserved. Taz came out during this promo, you know, jumped him. They got into a fight. Taz wanted to be the champion. He felt like Shane Douglas was ducking him. He got taken off by the cops. Al Snow came out. He had his match. Everybody was digging it. Everybody had the heads at the time. Shane Douglas pulled it out. They were setting up the big Shane Douglas versus Taz. Taz, of course, would beat Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas would leave for WCW later on in that year. Taz would be the champion until he lost it to Tanaka. No, yeah, because I remember making fun of him at WrestleCon thinking Tatanka was going to be there. But, this was an awesome time in ECW. I wish I would have been a fan. Like I said, it's one of my biggest regrets as a wrestling fan, not going to the show, not knowing enough about ECW at the time. So go out of your way to watch this show on the WWE Network. There might be better shows. Like I said, the first 2 matches are big-time duds. But you will have fun watching ECW. Watch this show, and hopefully you'll watch some more. Peace out, guys.